But Sephardim, we hold that on Rosh Chodesh itself, there's no sadness. So the laws, the restrictions will start Tuesday. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu olam she'kol niyah b'baruch. Thank you, Esther. Okay, so let's do some laws of the 9 days. The Chodesh is tonight, God willing. And so we have, I'm going to use, instead of yechave daat this week, Hazon Ovadia. So straight from Yecham Ovadia. And he has some of the laws that he writes here are more lenient than I've seen his sons write. Chacham Yitzhak, Chacham David. And so whatever he says goes. So let's see what he says. Let's just go through a couple of them. We have already now, starting from Shiras Tammuz, really the only restriction for Sephardim from Shiras Tammuz, the whole 3 weeks, is really the music. That's the big one. No music for the whole 3 weeks. And it's good to refrain from saying Shehecheyanu on the weekdays of the 3 weeks, but it's not really any sood. It's just better to push it off to Shabbat. So now we increase a little bit more. The Ashkenazim do a lot more than we do, but let's see what the Chacham Ovadia says. So he says as follows. So haircuts is allowed for us. Once the month of Av comes in, we lessen our joy. It's amazing that Rosh Chodesh Av, it always comes out on the Parashat Mas'eh when Aharon dies on Rosh Chodesh Av. Yes, I think it's the only yortzeit in the whole Torah that says the day someone died. Aharon Cohen. Yesterday. Yeah. Yesterday at Rosh Chodesh Av. On the first day of the month of Av. That's the whole question. Why does the Torah tell us the yortzeit, the day that Aharon died, and no one else? It must be important. And it always comes out right near Rosh Chodesh Av. And so therefore, if someone has a court case and it's possible to push it off, it's good to push it off till afterwards. My daughter, my baby needs surgery on her legs. I told the doctor nothing until after Tisha B'Av. It's you don't want to do anything that's risky if you can help it. The main halakha starting on Tuesday is the meat and the wine. Already some people don't have the meat and the wine for the whole 3 weeks, but Sephardim are lenient. Our custom is to be lenient. However, meat and wine we do for the 9 days, which will start on Tuesday. Chicken is even included in this. Maran Shulchan Aruch writes. But meat pots are totally fine. You can use meat pots. It doesn't matter. Even if it was bat yoma, even if it hasn't been 24 hours, it doesn't matter. You can still use the meat pot. It's not so strict that you can use a meat pot. You can taste the food Friday before Shabbat, even if it's meat, just to see that it's good. I'm going through this very quickly because I want to go to the end. You can drink the Havdalah wine, which some Ashkenazim don't drink the Havdalah wine. It's not good. We have to drink the Havdalah wine. And so we drink the Havdalah wine. Let's talk about leftovers. So leftovers from Shabbat. Leftovers from Shabbat, if you have some in the fridge right now, can you eat them this week? Starting Tuesday. Obviously today and tomorrow you could. Ha'ochel ahar Shabbat. No, ha'ochel ahar Shabbat. Mishiurei habasar. Shenish'ad lo meseudat Shabbat. If you want to eat leftovers, yesh lo ma she'yismoch. You have what to rely upon. For sure, if you eat this leftover meat for seudat b'it, if you have leftovers seudat b'it, the other shoe. And so therefore, if you want to be lenient and have your leftovers on Tuesday or Wednesday, if they're still good by Wednesday, but probably Tuesday is like usually where you draw the line on the leftovers, then you're allowed to eat the leftovers. There's no reason to be strict. You're allowed to. For sure for kids. No question for kids. Let's do another one. If you made a yechave accident on meat, you take a bite during the 3 weeks, during the 9 days. Children. You're allowed to feed the children meat. This is the most lenient I've ever seen. This one. I knew this one, that you're allowed to feed the kids, but how old? Says you're allowed to feed the kids meat. These days where weakness descended into the world, we're not as strong as we used to be. Even if they're trainable age, it doesn't matter. They can still eat meat, the kids. Especially if it's a kid that's not so healthy. What age do you think Chacham says you have to draw the line? You shouldn't feed a kid meat. Let's say a boy. What age? Only 12 years old? The boy's 12. All right, you can train him not to eat meat, but 11? I've never seen him right. An 11-year-old boy, let him eat meat during the 90s. No reason to be strict. 12 years in one day. He's already becoming very close to being a man. It's good to be strict on the boy also. So if the kid's craving hot dogs, every year someone calls me, my kid is crying for hot. Give the kid a hot dog. Give the kid a hot dog. It's the 9 days. The kid's crying. You have to be menches. We have to be normal on something that's not even it's a minhag. We have to be so the kid's 12 years old. Tov Ahmid, it's good to be strict. They shouldn't wait. And so I would assume that the same applies to 10 years old, 12 for a boy, 11 for a girl, I would say. 1 year before. Very lenient. Very lenient. So you can feed the kids the meat the whole 9 days. Yoledet, someone who gave birth, as long as it's been 30 days of birth, she can eat the meat. Anyone who's sick, even if it's not sakana nefashot, anyone who's sick and doesn't feel well, and they want to eat meat, no problem. You can eat it. If someone was sick and he got better, or he's still weak, he can still eat meat. If a person says they need it, go eat the meat. Also, someone who's nursing, which is usually 24 months. If she doesn't eat the meat, it's going to diminish her milk output. And God forbid it can damage the baby or can hurt the baby a little bit because of the milk supply. She can eat the meat during these days. Furthermore, a normal, any meneket, anyone who had a child within 24 months is considered a little bit sick, no matter how they feel. Their body is not back, like it says in the Gemara. So therefore, now that my wife is within 2 years of giving birth, same thing. If you feel that you need the meat to keep you going, you have a good milk supply and all that, have the meat. Seudat mitzvah, if you go to a Brit Milah, who's allowed to eat meat? If there's a Brit Milah during the 9 days, who can eat meat? All the guests, or just the mohel, or just about the father? What do you think? Everyone? Seudat mitzvah, כגון ברית מילה, מותר לאכול בשר. לכל הקרובים שבאו על הברית, רעיו ואוהביו הקרובים וסעודה רשאים לאכול בשר. Everyone is allowed to eat meat at the Brit Milah. However, if you crash the thing, he says about סתם בני אדם, normal guys, שהולכים שם אך ורק למטרה זו של אכילת בשר, they only want to go to crash it so they can eat meat, למלאות תאוותם, to fill the desires, הרי הם כעושים מצווה הבאה בעבירה. Then they're doing a mitzvah by means of an amira. So if you're an invited guest to a Brit Milah, you can eat meat. What about the night before the Brit Milah? Huh? Yeah, come on, have a baby. Don't look at me. Belil Hamilah, what about the night before? The Brit Yitzhak? No, that's not Siddha Mitzvah. Leil Milah in Hasiwadan Hasheb Mitzvah. What about a Milah Shlo Bizmana? The baby was jaundiced, so they pushed it off, and then they had it. So it's not the 8th day, 11th day, 12th day. So Imna Asit Miyad, because we know that a Milah Shlo Bizmana like doesn't push Shabbat. You can't do a Milah Shlo Bizmana on Shabbat. On Shabbat, only Milah on the 8th day, each Shabbat, right? So maybe it doesn't also push away the Simcha of the meat. If you did it right away, Imna Asit Miyad, Kishat Tinok Knape. If you did it right when the doctor said it's allowed, you said, okay, today or tomorrow it's a Brit Milah, then everyone can eat meat. What if they pushed it off and they said, you know what, we have if we had the baby 2 weeks ago, the doctor finally said they can have a brit, but it's going to be the 9 days. So we'll push it into the 9 days on purpose so everyone can have meat. You can't do that. The mohel, the sandat, and the abi aben, these three people, are allowed to eat meat even outside the brit milah. The whole day is a yom tov for them. So even in their own houses, they can have meat in their houses. What about the siyum mesechet? Siyum mesechet. רשאים כל הקרואים לסעודת סיום משום קרבה או רעות לאכול בבשר. Everyone invited to the סעודה of the סיום מסכת is allowed to eat meat. מפני שהיא סעודת מצווה. It's a סעודת מצווה. ואפילו מי שלא למד עמהם יכול להשתתף. Even if you never learned with these guys. It's סעודת מצווה, סיום, you can join in. ומכל שכן for sure, המחזיקים בידי הלומדים בממונם, if you paid and sponsored towards the learning for these guys, for sure you can join in. And it is a seudat mitzvah. Some people have the nahag, they'll only have fish in a siyum mesechet. U'v'makom she'en minhag yadua, if it's a place that has no custom, set custom, what should you do? Be lenient. Let them have meat during seudat mitzvah. If you do this parasha, we just learned about nedarim and hatarat nedarim. If you have a siyum mesechet or you have a brit milah and you want to have meat, you have to do hatarat nedarim. Do you have to do hatarat to take you out of the custom not to eat meat on the 9 days? And the answer is you don't have to do hatarat. Why? Because hatarat nedarim is only when you want to uproot a custom. You say, I don't want this custom anymore. You don't want that. You want the custom, just not now. I want to do it again next year. And so you don't need hatarat nedarim. Even if someone is a abel, 12 months for a father or a mother, if someone is mourning for 12 months, he's still allowed to join the siyum mesechet. If someone has a restaurant, he's allowed to supply meat to customers during the 9 days, especially chicken for sure. Maybe the person that's buying it has a situation, and there's no need to be strict on that. Okay. We want to try to minimize fixing up our clothing, new clothing on these days, going to the tailor and etc. Making new shoes like this. Generally, we want to stop purchases of happiness. Someone who his job is to be a tailor can still do his job. Let's skip a little bit. On Shabbat, we don't have any mourning. On Shabbat, you wear your nice clothes. Don't be strict on Shabbat. You can polish your shoes for Shabbat. And the such, you go to the next one. That's the last one. And the last thing he says in the beginning is actually you want to minimize purchasing things that make you very, very happy, like for example, for a hatan and a kala. Things that make someone or a brand new car. Things that make someone very, very happy. If it's possible to push it off till after the Shaare, good. If you're going to lose the deal, don't lose the deal. If it's a great deal, take the deal and do it. But other than that, this is the extent of the laws so far until the next step, the week of Shaare for Sfaradim. It's not very strict. A lot of the things that we hear is Ashkenaz. A lot of the stuff that we can take showers this week. We can still take haircuts. We can still shave. We just don't listen to music. Only a cappella, Jewish a cappella. I started telling people, I got like 6 phone calls. Music, I said, Jewish a cappella. I used to say just a cappella. Don't listen to Michael Jackson a cappella. Someone sent me, no, I'm serious, by the way. Someone sent me Michael Jackson a cappella. I think Hashem would prefer you listen to Jewish music than Michael Jackson a cappella. Yes, but it's Jewish a cappella this time. Starting Tuesday, no meat and wine. If you have a seudat mitzvah, you can. If it's leftovers from this week's Shabbat, so I think Tuesday would make sense. If you want to have leftovers on Tuesday, you are allowed to have leftovers on Tuesday or Wednesday from Shabbat. And the same would apply to next week also. And then feeding the children, like we said, the children can eat. Says the boys until the age of 12, feed them meat, no problem. And I would assume he means girls to the age of 11 as well. So it's not so strict. We want to just make sure. I think the main thing is we think about the Qurban. That's the reason. We think so much about the restrictions. How about we think about the temple that's destroyed? And so that'll be it for this part of the shiur, for this one. It's allowed. Swimming is allowed. Yeah. Swimming is allowed. Traveling is allowed. Doing all these things is allowed. You just want to use caution. You want to be careful. So my wife asked me, the kids want to go out this week. Should we go to Hurricane Harbor? Or I said, I don't know. I wouldn't go on like a huge roller coaster. It's not asur. It's allowed. You just want to don't take any risks this time. But it's no problem. It's allowed. If you have a lifeguard, which day? Shabbat Av? No, Shabbat Av in the morning. No, Shabbat Av we don't even do you. We don't walk around. But it's allowed. Even the week of, it's not asur. You have the problem of showering maybe, but it's allowed. Swimming is allowed. Just be careful. Make sure you watch the kids. Don't take any chances. It's use your common sense. Okay, that's